Everything you picture when you hear the word siren is wrong. They were not mermaids. They were not beautiful women on a rock. And the song was not about desire. Homer tells us almost nothing about what they looked like, and that silence is deliberate, because the horror was never the singers. It was the shore. Circe describes it to Odysseus before he sails. A green meadow, and in that meadow a great heap of bones, the bodies of men rotting where they sat, the skin shriveling on them. Not drowned, not eaten. They came ashore and they stayed, and they starved listening. So the real question was never what the sirens looked like. It was what they were singing that could make a man forget to eat. Odysseus has just come back from the land of the dead. He has spoken with ghosts, and he has been warned once already about what waits on the road home. Now the witch gives him one more instruction, and it is the strangest defense in Greek myth. Take beeswax, soften it in your hands until it yields, then seal the ears of every man on the ship, one by one, so that not a single note can reach them. But Odysseus is not told to seal his own. If he wants to hear it, and Circe knows that he will, then his crew must tie him upright against the mast, hand and foot, and lash him to the mast step. And then the part that matters. When he begs to be released, and he will beg, they are to ignore him. They are to pull the ropes tighter. He is the only man in history who plans, in advance, to be tortured by a song. Now, the part that everyone gets wrong. Ask anyone to draw a siren, and you will get a woman with a fishtail, a mermaid on a rock, combing her hair. That image is not Greek. It is not in Homer. It is not in any ancient account. The Greeks drew something far stranger. On their vases and their carvings, a siren is a bird, a large bird's body, taloned feet, wings, and a woman's head, sometimes human arms, holding a lyre, not a swimmer, a perched, watching, singing thing. The fishtail arrives more than 1,000 years later, in medieval bestiaries, where the siren and the mermaid slowly merge into one creature, and that hybrid is the one that survived. It is why, in Spanish and Italian today, the word for mermaid is simply sirena. We have been drawing the wrong monster for 800 years, and Homer, who invented them, never described them at all. He only described what was left of the men who listened. So what does the song say? Homer gives us the words, and this is where the myth we inherited falls apart completely. They do not sing about love, they do not sing about their bodies, they do not sing about the sea. They call him by name, Odysseus, great glory of the Achaeans. Come closer, and then they make an offer. No man has ever rowed past this island, they say, without stopping to hear our voices, and every one of them left wiser. We know everything. We know what the Greeks and the Trojans suffered on the plains of Troy. We know everything that happens on the fruitful earth. That is the trap. It was never seduction. It was omniscience. They are offering to tell a man what everything meant. And of every sailor in the ancient world, they are offering it to the one man who cannot refuse it. Odysseus is not defined by his strength. He is the one who always has to know. They did not find his desire. They found his curiosity. And here is where they get sadder than you expect. The sirens were not born monsters. They were the companions of a girl. Their mother was a muse, which is where the voice comes from. And in the oldest tellings, they were the handmaidens of Persephone, young attendants who followed her through the fields. Then the earth opened. Persephone was taken down into the underworld, and her companions were left standing in an empty meadow. So they asked for wings. They wanted to search the sea for her, and the gods gave them a bird's body to do it. In another version, it is not a gift at all. Demeter curses them into that shape for failing to protect her daughter. Either way, the creature is the same. Something that was human, changed into a bird, and left searching the water for a girl who is never coming back. If that unsettles you, subscribe and stay with me, because there are far stranger things waiting in the dark. It also explains something you can still see in Greek cemeteries. Sirens were carved onto tombs, not as temptresses, as mourners. They were always creatures of death, because there was a rule. A prophecy hung over them. If a mortal ever heard their song and sailed past alive, the sirens would die. So the ship comes level with the island, and the wind stops. Homer says the sea goes flat and silent, as if something is holding its breath. The crew furl the sail and row, wax in their ears, watching their captain. And Odysseus hears it. He strains against the ropes. He throws his eyebrows at his men, signaling, pleading to be cut loose. Two of them, Homer names them Eurylochus and Mermaids, get up and tie him tighter. They row until the voices fade. Then they pull the wax from their ears and untie a man who has heard the most dangerous thing in the world and lived. In another myth, the Argonauts pass the same island, and Orpheus simply plays louder, drowning them out. Though one man, Butes, throws himself into the water anyway. And after that, the accounts agree. The sirens are finished. They throw themselves from the rocks into the sea, and they had names. Later writers list 3: Parthenope, Ligeia, Leucosia, real names, not titles, and one of them is still on the map. When the sirens threw themselves into the sea, the body of Parthenope is said to have washed ashore on the coast of Italy. The people who found her built a shrine over the place, then a town, then a city. For centuries, that city was called Parthenope. Today we call it Naples. 3 million people live on the grave of a siren. They never wanted sailors. They wanted someone to listen. And the moment a man could hear them and keep rowing, there was nothing left for them to be. But the sea god who wanted Odysseus dead was not finished with him. And that hatred began with a monster who had only one eye.